There was a land blessed with a unique energy source. The leader of this land knew that he can harness this energy source to create wealth and prosperity for his nation. And that is exactly what he did. Through a vision and strategic plan, his people lived a high quality of life. They had all of their basic needs met. They had free education and access to state-of-the-art healthcare. They were thriving. But then, this nation faced a threat, and their energy source was being used against their best interest. The population stepped up, acknowledged their collective responsibility, and were able to restore stability. The leader observed that the world had changed, and he realized he needed to change his policy on the use of this energy source in order to ensure prosperity moving forward. Now, many of you might think that I'm referring to the fictional land of Wakanda and the characters of the movie Black Panther. And maybe I am. But the parallels between Wakanda and Trinidad are striking. We simply are at different points of our story. In Trinidad, we are blessed with a unique energy source, natural gas. Visionaries of the past realized the potential of these molecules, not just in terms of the energy that they hold, but in terms of the economic value they're capable of bringing to us. So they set up the investment climate for a thriving petrochemical industry. Trinidad competed on the world stage. We were the leading exporter of ammonia and methanol. Foreign exchange was flowing in, and our workforce was becoming highly skilled. We were prosperous. We were Wakanda. But the resources that we have today are no longer the resources that we had in the past. And so we have to acknowledge our collective responsibility and ensure that our nation is prosperous in the future. So decisions of the past heavily influence our lives today. And the fossil fuel industry continues to provide lucrative career paths which society values. When I was an 18-year-old trying to find my way, I was funneled into the system, and I started my career at an international oil company. In April of 2010, I was on a drilling rig off of the coast of Trinidad. I walked into the common room, and I was met with faces of dismay and horror. I looked up at the TV screen, and there were scenes of oil rushing up to the surface at an exploration well in the Gulf of Mexico. This was the infamous Deepwater Horizon oil spill. The blowout killed 11 people. The scenes of death and environmental destruction shook me to my very core. Was this in line with the impact that I wanted to create? I had to reevaluate business as usual. Here I was, on this oil rig, physically above an active drilling process. I had to reevaluate the decisions that got me to that point in my life. I realized that I did not step up and make an informed decision on my career choice. I decided that I needed to make decisions differently. And I decided that I needed to become an energy vigilante. To figure out how, I asked myself, what does a prosperous energy future for all look like? What opportunities are we missing out on? And are we making informed decisions today? As a result of this introspection, I decided that I needed to work in providing clean, affordable, and reliable electricity to developing island countries. In Trinidad, we lose our supply of electricity now and then, and we can all agree it's a huge inconvenience. But there are countries in the Caribbean that have lost their electricity supply for months at a time, and this is a life-threatening situation. Hurricane Dorian ravaged the northwest Bahamas less than 3 weeks ago. In 2017, Hurricane Irma and Maria left a trail of destruction in many Caribbean islands. For example, in Puerto Rico, when the transmission line went down, clinics in remote areas had to depend on diesel backup for days. And then the fuel supply truck stopped coming, and there was no electricity. Vaccinations and other medicines that required refrigeration were no longer safe to administer. Victims of the hurricanes that needed urgent medical care could not receive this because there was no electricity. Dominica and Barbuda face similar or worse situations. These countries have to rethink their long-term electricity strategy while in the midst of a national emergency. No island is immune from a natural disaster. And are we prepared? Another island in the Caribbean, Jamaica, faced a different kind of crisis, crippling energy costs. For a long time, Jamaica relied solely on fuel import for its electricity needs. Households were spending a significant amount of their monthly income on their electricity bills. This restricted economic opportunity at the household level, at the business level, and for the country as a whole. Decisions needed to be made, and they were. A large amount of solar and wind were brought into the network, but the institution in charge did not collaborate sufficiently with the electric utility who operates the grid, and key design considerations were overlooked. So when a large cloud passed over the solar array, or when the wind stopped blowing and electricity output fell, homes, schools, and businesses were losing their supply of electricity very often. The utility had to act. They invested in expensive infrastructure and changed the way in which they operated the grid in order to regain a sense of stability. Jamaica is arguably now a leader in renewable energy in the English-speaking Caribbean, but the lesson that shines through is that the proper collaboration from day one could have shed light on their unique grid situation, and proper planning decisions could have been made. Jamaica is quite open with sharing these lessons, and it would be a shame if we in Trinidad make the same mistake. Now, no matter where you live, electricity underpins the quality of your life, and there is no room for guessing when it comes to our electricity system. When faced with a threat, whether due to climate change or due to an economic crisis, we have three choices: inaction, action with partial information, or fully informed action. I now work for an international nonprofit organization where we focus on transformational change of the electricity sector. I work directly with governments, utilities, and regulators to help them unlock opportunity and overcome challenges as they progress along their clean energy transition. Because we're a nonprofit, we're allowed to be neutral and objective, and I see energy issues from multiple perspectives. This allows me to find the solutions that are in line with the long-term national interest. There is nothing more satisfying than finding the win-win-win solutions. These are when the governments win by making progress towards their renewable energy targets. The people win by receiving the services they need at a fair price, and the electric utilities win by proactively adapting their business models to fully harness the benefits of renewable energy from day one. From this national perspective and this vantage point, I view my home country of Trinidad and Tobago. In Trinidad, we generate electricity from natural gas, and we also use natural gas in the petrochemical industry and for export in liquefied natural gas. In times of abundance, all three end users receive the gas that they demand, and inefficiencies are overlooked. While it appears as though we have a cheap supply of electricity, a curtain of subsidies masks us from the true cost. Our electricity system has racked up a debt of more than $500 million and is continuing to grow with every unit of electricity that we use. While cheap today, future generations will pay. On top of this, we face a threat, a natural gas shortage and declining reserves. The downstream industries are being deprived of their crucial feedstock. We are already seeing the impact today through a shortage of foreign exchange and rising unemployment. Since 2012, we have lost out on economic opportunity in the order of $4 billion. We can generate electricity more efficiently and secondly with renewables and free up some of that gas to channel towards end users that bring in maximum value to our country. We are in a unique position to be proactive about finding solutions before these threats become debilitating. So here is what we can do. To those of you already in the energy industry, you understand how the system works better than anyone, whether you're an engineer, lawyer, or banker. You can find the innovative solutions that are fit for purpose in our unique context. And through collaboration, you can find the win-win-win solutions. To the government and policymakers, decisions that were made in the past craft our lives today. So the decisions that you make today craft the lives of future generations. This is your opportunity to establish yourselves as visionaries. Listen to your experts as they would give you crucial bottom-up information for you to then make informed top-down decisions. And to you, all of you, are you going to remain indifferent or are you going to make a difference? We can all be agents of change. The first step is to become informed, collaborate, and level up the national dialogue. We don't all have to be energy vigilantes, but if knowledge is power, then informed action can be your superpower. Thank you.